We understand transparency as the opening up of supply chain data, starting with the disclosure of who is working with which production location. At OS Hub, we see transparency enabling stakeholders to collaborate, together meet their needs, or come together to address pressing global issues, including climate change and workers' rights. When it comes to transparency versus traceability, transparency, this is the map. Traceability, this is how a product or material moves through the map. If you're an organization looking at transparency and traceability, make sure those solutions are connected and talking to each other interoperably. Collaboration is difficult, if not impossible, without transparency. Also, there can be no accountability without transparency. Many things need to come together for change to happen. Transparency is one piece of the puzzle, an important one, and possibly the gateway.
In terms of practical steps, start with the basics. Organizations are often overwhelmed by thinking through all of the different opportunities for different data that they can share. Just start with country name and address for each of your facilities and get that public and get it working in a way that you can start to work with different organizations. From there, start to think about your goals. What are you trying to achieve? And how can sharing more data help you reach the organizations you need to reach to best collaborate to achieve those goals? The truth is, transparency does not have to be so hard. And when we hear stories of organizations saying that it's hard for them, it's usually because they're trying to work on their transparency initiatives in silos. They're trying to figure out these big sticky problems by themselves. But instead, if you're looking to advance transparency in your organization, find others who are working on this with you, or collaborative initiatives where you'll be able to pool resources and figure out the best way forward. Absolutely. Transparency benefits all organizations and people who touch supply chains. When we think about what a supply chain is, inherently everyone in a supply chain is connected. And so when we talk about the benefits of transparency, those benefits then work toward all of the different organizations that are connected to supply chains. And really the key to that is what transparency enables is collaboration. And so when we look at what happens when organizations start to be transparent with one another, is we start to see really powerful examples of organizations working together to solve the problems that are most important to them, no matter where they sit in the supply chain. Yes, there are a lot of different conversations about sort of what data different organizations should be disclosing, especially brands. When we have these conversations about transparency, a really important place to start is that you can't go deeper into all of these different subject areas if you don't have the basics in place. So when you're thinking about this kind of conversation, starting with disclosing where you're working is a great place to start, and making sure that data is clean and easy for other organizations to work with. That's going to enable you to be able to dive more deeply into different data points or types of data if/when the time comes. So there are a variety of different trends happening around apparel supply chains and transparency. I think two of the bigger ones. One is seeing more and more organizations go deeper into their supply chains when it comes to transparency. So especially with brands, we're seeing more and more tiers of supply chain data being disclosed, and then different organizations working with that data and sort of collaborating on initiatives deeper into supply chains. The second trend really relates to these conversations around new pieces of legislation coming out, whether it's mandatory human rights due diligence legislation or ESG reporting. organizations are really feeling a bit of paralysis around what they can do to prepare for these pieces of legislation that are coming. But across the board, one trend that we're seeing is that organizations can get ready for whatever is coming by sharing where their production locations are and making sure that that data is open and easy for other organizations to work with, so that no matter where the legislation goes, they're ready to connect their data to different organizations, service providers, and reporting tools.